Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to the long, dark Wintermute. So we're going to get back into this, and I've got a couple things to talk about today, so hopefully we should be able to get right into it. Let's resume.
Now the pale morning sings of forgotten things. She plays the tune for those who wish to overlook the fact that they've been blindly deceived by those who preach and pray and teach. But she falls short and the night explodes in laughter. Don't you come here and say time it all shifts one way or the other. And I'm a goddamn coward, but then again so are you. And the lions roar as me evading and hollering for you. And I never really knew what to do. Lead you back to me.
Well, despite anything else, I think that was a pretty cool intro into the second episode.
Too heavy.
Second chapter.
Where? Bear. Easy. You're okay now. The bear's gone. Who are you? Name's Mackenzie. I found you when the bear was... I remember now. You get the bear. It ran away. I think I hit it. Or scared it off. Scared it off. Not the way you shoot. Glad your memory's coming back. So cold. I got a fire going. That should warm things up a bit. Pain. Need something for pain. Here, take these. They should help. Listen, you're gonna need more than some pills and bandages. You're hurt. Badly. That bite'll get infected. Maybe worse. You have any stronger meds? No. Oh, damn. Map. Back of the door.
Gurgles and passes out.
Hey. Can you hear me, old man?
Are you dead? Did you just die?
Damn it. He's passed out.
Or he's dead.
Huh. Looks like an old hydroelectric dam not too far from here. Might be a good place to look for supplies. Hang in there, whatever your name is.
That felt a little lighthearted, didn't it? Alright. Oh, not Chapter 2. We're in Chapter 1, I guess. That was Chapter 0, tutorial before. Alright, well, like I said, we've got a lot of things to talk about today. Is my inventory... My inventory looks to be exactly the same, so that's good. I was worried they were going to reset me with stuff, you know? But I think we're okay. I mean, I can't even take the firewood? Alright. Well, anyway, as far as I can tell, this is the Trapper's Cabin? I can't off the top of my head remember. I think this is Mystery Lake map. Which, if that's the case, the Trapper's Cabin is about on the opposite corner of the hydroelectric dam. So we're going to make our way over there. I assume that's our goal for this whole thing.
Key to getting out of here. You better not die on me.
Yep, Trapper's Homestead. Nothing. I think that's where we're probably going to store supplies. So, we're back again. Just out of curiosity, I did... Let me see. Yep, still got my gun. My flare gun. I did go and look up, like, Steam reviews, just to see what people thought of the game. Overall, Steam reviews are still positive, but there are a lot of negative Steam reviews I've been looking at. People are saying that the single player is great, or the sandbox is great, but the story mode, this mode, isn't as great. And I can kind of see where they're coming from. And to be fair, I've only played the first section, I guess. So, I can't really give any final thoughts on it yet, but not as well received as I think people wanted it to be. Okay. So, we are about right here, roughly. There's a couple buildings we can visit. The camp office is a pretty notable one. There's Mystery Lake. This is the lookout point. That's actually another really cool spot. I think I showed it in a video a couple years ago. And the hydroelectric dam, which I'm worried about because there's scary things over there. Unless they change it for, you know, story mode. But, story mode has not been super well received by people, it seems. I've mentioned it before, but I'm still kind of in the camp of... I like the story mode. It's not very deep, obviously, but I kind of like where they're going with it. It feels like it's got just enough to it to give me, like, motivation to move forward. It's something Sandbox kind of has a problem with, is, running out of motivation for you to do stuff. I thought that was a snare. Okay. This is where I usually set up snares if I'm near the Trapper's Homestead, because there's usually a lot of rabbits near here, at least in sandbox mode. So yeah, people are not happy about it. They're saying, you know, buy it. This wasn't the original plan to buy it for the sandbox mode, but that's kind of what it seems like. But that being said, you know, maybe it's a first, you know, a first try at a story mode, and maybe they'll learn from it and do a little bit better in the subsequent ones. I was reading about the whole, like, you know, having to collect, you know, 100 pounds of food or whatever it was for the lady, and you have to gather a bunch of firewood for her. And apparently that's not the last time we're going to be doing that as a task, so... That's something people have been complaining about. Alright, that's Max's last stand. So we keep going this way. We're going to eventually hit the railroad track, and that's pretty much the main, like, thoroughfare through this map. Ah, here we go. Birch bark. This is good tinder. You usually find it around these white striped birch trees. Okay, I think I might be heading slightly in the wrong direction. Like I was heading towards this wall. I don't know if you can actually see my mouse pointer. I don't think you can. Anyway, I was heading towards that wall below Max's last stand, so I think this way is the railroad track. In fact, that might be it right there. I'm trying to remember this map. Like I said, it's been a while, but I have played it a couple times, so I have a vague idea of where everything's situated. This area down here can be dangerous. There's wolves sometimes. So yeah, at the end of the last episode, we kind of just jumped right into it. With that bear and that man and everything. At least this guy isn't speaking like cryptic nonsense like Greymother was. He's just a bit delirious from the blood loss probably, but he's not like crazy. At least from what I can tell so far. I need to be careful around here too, because wolves do have a habit of showing up around this end. However, there's also a pretty decent chance of me picking up some supplies over here too, so I'm just gonna... Well, I don't need to pull it out yet. I'm gonna say that and get immediately attacked by a wolf, but I'm gonna take the chance and take a look. So as you can see, once again, everything's been ruined. But usually there's like a backpack or like a dead body somewhere near here. So usually you can get something. There's a rabbit. If I remember right, I really don't need food right now. Where does this go?
I have to stay focused on the task at hand.
That goes down this way. I think that's a, I think that might be a break into a different map section. I can't remember exactly how they're all linked together. That's one thing I never really got fully, like I don't have a full understanding of how all the different maps connect together in Sandbox, but I want to say that used to be a cave-in. Back when they, like I said before, when they had individual maps that were all separated from each other. But I think now that actually transitions to a different map, or maybe like a ravine that connects two maps together. There's a ravine on one of these maps that's... I remember I went in there one time and I managed to glitch myself like through the floor or something. That was pretty cool. I almost want to say I got it on video, but I can't remember if I did or not. It would have been a while back. I like that intro scene, though, that they did for this episode when we started the episode here. It seemed to tell a good bit of a story. There was Astrid, obviously, dealing with wolves. We had Mackenzie... not as much of Mackenzie, but there's a little bit of Mackenzie. I liked that intro. That was pretty cool. And judging by the fact that this said Chapter 1 or Episode 1, makes me think that was all like the prologue that we just did. Which makes sense. That was kind of, I guess, tutorial, especially if you've never played this game before. Tutorial on how to play. Though I've heard apparently once you leave the tutorial, they still do the same thing where they ask you to bring, you know, X amount of food and stuff. So, I'm not exactly looking forward to that. Alright, so we're about right here. There's a couple different routes we can take. There's a good bit of interesting map this way. Most of it uninhabited, but there are a couple little things to find along the way. I think there's like a tiny, like broken down cabin. Thought I heard a sound. In normal sandbox, I'm not sure if they're going to do it now. There's normally a chance for a secret, or a prepper's hideout, that's what it's called, to spawn up there. So I usually like to check up there sometimes just to see. It's got a lot of good supplies, it's a good shelter, lots of cool stuff. That is the lookout point, which I would very much like to visit. It's a really cool spot and you can see a lot of the map from it. But we are going to start at the camp office here. There's sometimes a wolf over here, so we're going to be on the lookout for that. And I should add, you probably already noticed, considering how much I'm talking about it, how much knowledge I have about it, but this is one of the maps that's been around pretty much since the beginning. It's a Mystery Lake. It's either the first or the second map. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's definitely one of the first. There's Mystery Lake, always crawling with wolves. There's a couple interesting places. We might take our time more on this map, to be perfectly honest. Doing exploration. I don't want to just cut through it as quick as possible. Ooh, wow. They updated this place a little bit. Not structurally, but there's a lot more, like, stuff in it. But anyway, I want you guys to get a good look at the map and see all the cool stuff. So we'll definitely do a bit of a runaround.
Excellent.
But yeah, they updated this a little. There's it more or less looks like structurally the same, but there's a lot more stuff in this room. It's normally a bit more bare. Due to unusually cold weather this year, we're shutting down Mystery Lake Provincial Park a little earlier
slowing me down.
than usual. Make sure all campers are packed up and ready to bug out by rail truck. Anyone left behind will have to get out on foot. Not a nice prospect. As per the usual procedure, lock up all the lake cabins and make sure all provisions are stored in bear-proof containers. And please take the flag down this year. We had to replace it after last winter. The wind just tears it to shreds. After you're finished closing down the camp, make sure to check in at the Forestry Service lookout as requested. Apparently those guys think someone's been using their lookout to store hunting gear and drying old animal skins. Man, I don't envy you that backwater posting. Great Bear has sure gone downhill since the quakes. I like this like slow world building they're doing. See, I know people are complaining gameplay wise that some of this stuff is kind of aggravating, but I do appreciate the world building they're doing with these notes. It's kind of nice. I'm really interested to learn more about these quakes. Like, this seems like a different, like, I hate to use this word because it sounds dumb, but it seems like we're in a different timeline than the regular world. Alright, so we got stuff for fishing. That's cool. Definitely something we could do. We might do it a little bit just so you see what it's like, but I don't ever really rely on fishing in any real manner. It takes a lot of time. You kind of have to have enough resources and be prepared enough to fish, like, ahead of time.
This stuff will come in handy.
So it's not my thing. Let's just say that. And this is always a really good first aid kit. This was not this time, but Usually, it's pretty easy to get to this cabin. And so it's a good spot for your first real, like, medical supplies. Although I will say Mystery Lake, while it has quite a couple small buildings scattered about. Nice. Doesn't have anything, like, any major survival spaces. This building is probably one of the better ones. It's got a stove, it's got a bed, it's got a workbench, so this is pretty much the survival building on this map. Look at that fish. Oh, it's a spider web. So we may turn this into a base of operations of sort. The Trapper's Homestead's pretty decent too. It's got a lot of that other stuff I mentioned. But, as you can see, it is located on the bottom corner of the map. Not very close to much of anything else. While the camp office is pretty centrally located on this map. So you can get around a bit easier from there. It's a better storage spot. Wheel. Can break that down. So let me just finish looting and then I'll do a little bit of storage, and I feel like it might be getting close to nighttime, so I don't know if we quite want to go out yet. Oh yeah, they definitely decked this place out up here a lot. This was a pretty boring upstairs, all things considered. Now it's looking a lot more filled out. Come on, light it. I want the people to see a little better. No, don't break down the shelf. We're gonna store all these. Don't worry, I'm not carrying all these books around too much. Yeah, and there's even a fireplace up here, so that's... This one's always been a pretty good survival area.
I can always use more food.
Just waiting for him to complain again about how heavy everything is. How big is this crate? This can hold a good bit. I'll use this as my main storage. Alright. So we're going to put all those books away. We'll put away a little bit of water. Well, yeah, that'll work. Put away some of that. Some more books. That'll help lower our weight by a good bit. It's nice to have it all, like, centrally located. Then I can manage it a bit more effectively. Actually, yeah, we can transfer all that. We'll transfer the sticks as usual. And we're getting back to a decent weight again. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be kind of our central operations base, because clearly we need to go to the hydroelectric dam and bring something back. Let's also go ahead and eat to lower our weight a little bit more. Ugh. Moldy. Delicious. Your food and water, as you can obviously tell, can go bad in time. I've never really had it, like, it doesn't really become a problem except on really long run games. But it's usually just kind of the case of eat whatever is closest to expiring and then go from there. Now, we did get a camp cabin key. I think I mentioned it, but I'll say it again real quick. Across Mystery Lake, can just barely see them. About, I want to say right there. You can see like a dock better than you can see the house. That's where that key's for, and it looked like based on that note that they're going to be locked, so we'll need keys to get into all of them. Now we could go straight across Mystery Lake. The lake is frozen solid, and as far as I know, there's no chance of it like breaking or anything, so that's not an issue. But there are an awful lot of wolves. But another thing is we could also get all those cattails too, so... If I ever see a break in the wolves, I might take advantage of that and grab a bunch of cattails. But there is an alternate path. Once again, I don't think you can see my mouse pointer. That kind of swoops under Mystery Lake, and then you can come around to the back. So that's the way we're going to go. There's also a sandbox spawn that happens over here. I remember this one specifically because the sandbox spawns are interesting because they always start you out outside as far as I know. Sometimes they're easy. You'll start pretty close to some buildings. You can go in buildings, get some clothes, figure out how you're going to start surviving. Sometimes you spawn in the middle of nowhere and it's pitch black at night and there's a blizzard. And sometimes those runs end and you survive for about 6 hours. Or less. Sometimes you break your leg and a wolf attacks you. But there is a spawn somewhere over here that, I always like because when I get it, it's really obvious. Because sometimes you'll spawn, if it's really dark and you can't see anything, and it's snowstormy, you have no idea where to go. Like, you're just trying to figure out where you are on the map to figure out where to go to get to the closest shelter. And you can't. But you actually can from this area. It's really easy. It starts you out in a cave. I want to say it's over here. And you take a left and go down the path till you hit the camp office, and you're pretty much set for a good chunk of the game. You've got your start done. I did also notice, I forgot to mention, in that note that we read, that somebody's apparently been using the lookout point as like a hunting thing, where they've been drying skins and stuff. That could be useful. Maybe we'll figure out how to make better clothes using dried animal skins. That's something I'd like to look into, definitely. And maybe we'll even find a gun up there, or a bow, or something. Who knows? Let's see. I think this is it. Yeah. I think it's even got a name, too. Dave's Quiet Clearing. So, this place is not even really a cave, to be honest. It's like they left me some firewood to reward me for coming down here. This place isn't even really a cave, and if your clothes are bad, it's barely better than being outside. You pretty much get protection from wind, and that's about it. But it is always nice, because when you spawn in there, you can tell pretty easily where you're at, unless it's just completely dark. And then, you just stumble across this path, take a left, and then go down that path, and you're at a pretty good survival spot, usually with some food, usually with some clothes, usually with some water. Workbench so you can make stuff, place to make a campfire, so it's got all your bases covered. And that's one thing that's nice for making a base camp is having a workbench. You can use, there's a lot of buildings you'll get into where you can't make a campfire in them, and they kind of suck as a base camp because you can't even make food in them. All you can really do is you sleep. Sometimes, if they even have a bed, sometimes they don't. Or at least escape from the cold. Next, of course, is the bed. You know, having beds is nice. Being able to make a campfire is nice. But if you can get into a building that has a workbench as well, that's the perfect building, because you don't even have to leave, like, go outside to, like, make anything. And workbenches are cool because they, well, obviously they allow you to craft, like, some pretty high-tier stuff. think we're okay. Sometimes wolves are out here. They allow you to craft some pretty high tier stuff, but they also have this little side effect, I guess, of being a good place to sink a lot of time. When you kind of get mid-game, you're less worried about food survival generally, and you're more worried about trying to make supplies for mid-game. And crafting stuff generally takes hours, especially some of the high-tier crafting stuff can take like 12 or more hours to make. And you do it in time blocks. You don't even do it all in one go because it takes so long. So, they're nice to have, like, wherever you're staying, so that you don't have to... Where are all the cattails? You don't have to worry about, going outside at night and trying to deal with all that crap. I think they removed all the cattails. I think there were... Okay, admittedly, there were an awful lot of cattails around this lake. Like, there was a regular amount that you would find anywhere, but... They put them all around the lake, so if you scavenged all around the lake, I could probably get like 50 or at least 30. So I guess I see why they removed them. That would have been a bit easy. Alright. So, this is one of these places I described as, it doesn't have a campfire spot in it. These have a bed. And that's about it. They're good for escaping the cold.
I think I can use this.
They're good for escaping the cold. They're good for sleeping, obviously. And you can get some supplies in them. They sometimes have decent, like, mid-range grade clothing. Of course, I'm referring to Sandbox. I don't know what they've balanced this
Could
towards.
end up being useful.
And they like that fish thing. So, this was not ever really a great spot. It was an okay spot to come and pick up some supplies, but nowhere near like a long-term survival
carry this load for much
situation.
longer.
It is, however, starting to become nighttime though, so we may, if we can't get back, we may end up using this place. Okay, this is lighter, but not as good. How does it compare to that? Not as good. Yeah, nowhere near as good. That is better.